It's no secret that the Sony Spider-Man cinematic universe that doesn't have Spider-Man in it is over. The CEOs, in their infinite wisdom, decided to finally pull the brakes after all of the movies sucked. But we found the real reason these movies didn't do well, according to CEO Tony Vincequera, Vince Who Cares, Vince I Got Too Much Money, and it's because of people like, drumroll please, holds up fictitious mirror. Because of people like me, the critics. Let's talk about it. Clean up that mess. According to CEO Moneybags, Kraven was probably the worst launch the Sony Spider-Man cinematic universe without Spider-Man has ever had. And he goes on to scratch the noodle. I don't understand. The movie was good. I don't get it. It was a good movie. No, it wasn't. You know it wasn't. This isn't a serious statement. These aren't serious people. They just have a lot of money, and they think they can do no wrong. And when they do wrong, they realize it turns out we can't crap in a bag and present it as gold every time. People actually start to think about these things. I talked about this in a recent video, but people are getting sick of Disney's bullcrap live-action remakes. You can check that video out by subscribing to the channel and then watching that video. I mean, the subscription part's actually not necessary, but it is free, and I post a lot of content that I think is incredibly captivating stuff. Anyway, in that video, I pointed out that Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks and these other big studios have cultivated an audience, and they won over the hearts and minds of millions of adoring fans because they put out a lot of good content over the years. Well, after a bunch of great movies and hits over the years, the company decided to get greedy and start putting out lazy content in the form of live-action remakes. Sony looks at Disney and goes, you and I, we're not so different, you and I. And they did the same thing in a sense. They had a bunch of success with Spider-Man. They make bank every time. And then they realized, wait, we might not be able to technically use this Spider-Man, but we have access to the villains, the rogues gallery. So let's just start doing Spider-Man adjacent content. And we can rush it out the door because we could possibly get a sneak peek from our own version of Spider-Man. Or maybe Tom Holland shows up. We certainly teased that for like 4 of the movies. But no, the audiences did get wise. And even though the Venom movies continued to do well enough, they still got less profitable as the movies went on. Kraven the Hunter, Madam Kraven, Let There Be Kraven, Kraven time, it currently sits at a grand total of $43 million according to this Variety article. Which is impressively bad considering Madam Web only made $100 million. And that was a financial failure. Vincequera continues with, let's just touch on Madam Web for a moment. Hot. Madame Web underperformed at the theaters because critics crucified it. It was not a bad film, he said with a straight face. And it did great on Netflix. Come on, dude, what are we doing anymore? Morbius curiosity is gonna get people to click on a free video that they're already paying for from the app. I mean, it's not technically free because they're paying for the app, but you know what I mean. It's there in front of them. You feature it on the home screen of Netflix. So yeah, people are gonna see maybe a good looking woman or 3 or 4 on the cover and go, yeah, I got a couple hours to kill. Let's see. Or they heard it's a pile of crap. Let's check it out. Let's see if it's as bad as they... Yeah, it is as bad as they say. Wild stuff. Turns out critics do have a place in this topsy-turvy world. He continues to say stupid stuff. The press, for some reason, did not want us to make Kraven or Madam Web, and the critics destroyed us for it. They also did it with Venom, but Venom persisted. Venom rose above the awful vitriol spewed in its direction and won over the hearts and minds of many. He then reiterates, for a 3rd time, these are not terrible films. They were just destroyed by the critics and the press for some reason. Tossing on the for some reason several times during the statement makes it sound like there's a nefarious thing going on in the background. Again, this is not a serious person. These are not serious statements. This is bullshit from a CEO who is pretending they made something good and knows deep down in his heart of hearts that what they made was garbage. He then has the gall to say that because of the tarnished name, because of the tarnished brand, it's snake bitten. That's an expression he used verbatim. If we put out another one, it's gonna get destroyed, no matter how good or how bad it is. Well, I mean, if it's bad, yeah, it's gonna get destroyed. This is a person that makes a lot of money, and I think he used the word destroyed 4 times in this interview. Come on, what are we doing? So he said they're gonna rethink their strategy, go back to the drawing board. Here's a suggestion, in my humblest of opinions. Make something good. How about that? Maybe try not turning actual villains into angsty protagonists, the anti-hero. You know, Venom is one thing, and even then I think that's a complete swing and a miss, but there's plenty of people that enjoy those dumb, silly little films. It's another to go after Kraven or Morbius. It's just ridiculous. They don't scream hero. And when you have a ton of comics, video games, cartoons that showcase them as villains, maybe stick a little bit closer to the source material. Another more challenging tip I encourage you to try out, Sony, is have a plan. Like a beginning. I'm not even talking beginning, middle, and end. Let's just start at the beginning. Have a fucking idea, okay? And then maybe think how it can expand out. Once that idea starts to take shape, nurture it, cultivate it. Let the seed grow into something special. Don't just start planting a bunch of different seeds. Oh, we got Venom here, we got Madam Web there, we got Kraven over here, Morbius. Do they connect? Little bit. Maybe, kinda. We got an end credit over there that doesn't go anywhere. We're gonna toss something at the end of No Way Home that's not gonna make any sense with Venom. No, there was no plan. And it seemed like they were constantly changing their minds about what to do with any of this. So all you have is a universe in name only. A universe, by the way, that is seriously called the Sony Spider-Man universe. Are you out of your mind? Spider-Man never even showed up. How can you have a universe named after a main character who's not even in the movies? So stupid. It's not just one movie or 5. You got like 7 of these. Venom. Venom 2, Let There Be Garbage. Venom 3, The Last Ass. Morbi shit. Pepsi Web. Kraven the Dunder. 6 movies, not a Spider-Man in sight. Oh, we get a mention of Peter Parker and Madam Web. Good. Arguably the worst movie has the smallest kind of cameo you can get. Baby Peter Parker. And no, this isn't just a Sony universe problem. It's been a problem for all these different big studios that want to get their expanded universes out there. Even Marvel, the one who did it right initially, has had a very hard time finding their footing after Endgame, where they killed off or sunsetted all the lovable characters, and all we're left with is a bunch of ragtag misfits that they haven't made into anything special yet. And then you have the DCU disaster, well, the Snyder disaster. That's gone. Now we have James Gunn. Maybe Gunn knows a thing or two, and he's learned some things from the MCU. We'll find out with Superman kicking things off. But then there's the Dark Universe that couldn't even make it to first base. It just struck out after one movie. And let us ray that Star Wars at some point figures things out with Disney. Disney announces a new Star Wars movie every other week, and then the following week says, just kidding, we're not doing that anymore. At one point, Rey was gonna have a new trilogy, then it was gonna be a single movie, then we were gonna have a bunch of TV shows that were gonna tie into her stuff. I'm old enough to remember when those Game of Thrones guys burned down their own TV show so that they could get a chance at the big time with the Star Wars trilogy, and then shit the bed on that as well, leaving both fan bases incredibly pissed. Studios need to first and foremost have a plan of attack, have a roadmap, and absolutely go all in on it. Find a creative voice, a head like a George Lucas, love him or hate him. The man had a vision that I thought was absolute shit when it came to the prequels, but so what? It was at least a cohesive beginning, middle, and end, and it was consistently bad across the board. And I'll absolutely take that any day of the week over a J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams back and forth circle jerk. But no, it's just another day at the races where another out-of-touch CEO says some stupid shit, blames everyone else, obfuscates, instead of looking inward, trying to determine if maybe I'm the problem, not them. The only thing I know for certain is this. You and I, we see through the bullshit. We can smell it coming a mile away. They can use whatever terminology they want. They can pin the blame on whoever they need to. At the end of the day, the final product is bad. We can see it's bad. We can see why it's bad. And I'm gonna let you know it every single time. All right, there are my thoughts on this CEO clusterfuck. Let me know your thoughts in a comment below. Please think of liking the channel and subscribing, and hopefully I catch you next time. Take care.